In October 2010, a Sherpa named Chawang Nima was fixing ropes on Burunse, which is a peak near Everest. He was working for a professional climber named Melissa Arnott, and he was climbing with a Sherpa who he'd only met the previous day. As Chawang was pounding a snow picket into the mountain, the cornice he was standing on gave way, and he fell.
The other Sherpa, who I didn't know, I'd met just before at base camp, came running back down, and I brought the tea to him, and I said, "Oh, nice work, you make it to summit," and he said, no, it was accident, and Chawang Nima finished.
Arnott called in a helicopter, and she and the other Sherpa, named Nima Geljan, flew to the town of Tamo, where Chawang Nima's widow, Lamuchiki, had just been notified.
She was sitting in her kitchen, and I mean, from outside I could hear just the wailing is the only way I could describe it, and nothing like I've ever heard.
I'd spent the spring of 2012 reporting from Everest Base Camp, and I'd seen some of these accidents, and I was curious what happens to these guys' families when a breadwinner is lost in the mountains.
If someone die on Everest, probably they will get about 4 to 5 lakhs, $4,000 to $5,000 maybe. Sometimes their team member from overseas, like not Nepalese company, but the company from overseas does help, but not necessarily for all of the Sherpa who've been injured. It hasn't happened.
And what I found was that we underestimate just how dangerous this kind of work is. Being a climbing Sherpa is more dangerous than being an Alaskan bush pilot, more dangerous than being an infantryman in Iraq. And while each climbing Sherpa has government-mandated life insurance, the benefits are often gobbled up by elaborate funeral services, which are meant to speed the dead climber's soul toward reincarnation. Last November, I joined Arnott to visit with families that had become casualties of the climbing industry. In general, Sherpas who had been working for the most reputable companies received help above and beyond the mandatory insurance payments. Those whose husbands had been working for so-called budget outfitters had not.
3 nights they sleep, no food, no tea, no medicine.
In most cases, this collateral damage goes unseen after climbers descend the mountain and return to their lives.
Food and medicine, everything, very expensive.
And in cases of disabling injuries, which are much more survivable now that helicopters can rescue people from Camp 2 on Mount Everest, an injured Sherpa's family may face the impossible choice of deciding whether to care for him or move on.
After you had a stroke, your wife did not want to take care of you.
Yes.
Another more recent stroke victim, Ang Temba, is luckier. His wife Ferba cares for them in their Kathmandu apartment.
तर हाम्रो त खर्च बढी भयो हैन मेडिकलबाट चाहिँ 50,000 पायो सबैजना जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ नि पछि चाहिँ उहाँ पनि बस्न सकेन ल अब जानुपर्छ भने अनि शेर्पाको खेती त्यही हो हैन
I mean, it's the best paying job going, and if people are strong enough to do it, they take, for the most part, they take the risks associated with it. There's very few of these guys that are strong enough to do a good job up on Everest or 8,000 meter peaks that don't do it.
In Tamo, Arnott checked in on Lamuchiki, Chawang Nima's widow, and brought an envelope full of cash. Arnott, along with former Alpine Ascents guide David Morton, have started something that they're calling the Juniper Fund, which they hope to use to underwrite insurance premiums for Sherpas. Then in June, the Nepalese government surprised everybody by doubling the amount of insurance that outfitters are required to carry for their Sherpas. But the fact remains, no other service industry in the world so frequently kills and maims its employees with so little safety net for the benefit of paying clients.
I just got on my knees in front of her and said, I'm sorry. And a llama came and took me out of there and said, you can't be in here now, you have to go. You know, it's the guilt of me hiring somebody to work for me that really had no choice, and they died. And what's my obligation to their family? Because my passion created an industry that fosters people dying, you know? I mean, it supports people, humans, as disposable. And that's, to me, the hardest thing to come to terms with.
気もなすんでます。
But I'm just feeling cold, but I'm not dead.